Hey there, fellow marketers, Professor Walters here, and today what we're going to talk about is basically the type of people that respond to social media posts and what they expect to get back from you from their posts. I know it sounds weird, but what I want to do is kind of give you kind of 4 different groups of people, of product enjoyers or service enjoyers of yours, and how they interact on social media and what they expect you to be doing with your social media if they do interact with you, okay? And the first thing you look at, you got what you call social skippers. These are people, they love your product, right? They love using your product, playing with your service, doing your service, whatever. They love it, but they're not sharing it online. Like, I love playing Jenga. Jenga's a cool game, and I play with my kids all the time, but I'm not like, I loving Jenga. We're doing Jenga tonight. It's Jenga time, baby. No, I'm not posting anything on that. And so we look at these social skippers is they enjoy the product, but they skip out on sharing it. So you have a lot of people out there that use your products that aren't sharing every single aspect when they use your product. You look at that and say, oh, they're not sharing that they enjoyed their camera, they enjoyed their, game, or they enjoyed that outfit they bought. You do have those people out there. There are people, this is going to sound crazy, I know, just go with me on this one. There are people that order food that don't take pictures of it. I know. I by myself cannot believe that actually exists. I mean, I also hear their food is actually hotter than the people that take 15 pictures and videos of their food before they eat it. It's crazy. It's crazy. But no, you do have those social skippers out there, all right? So the thing is that you have to realize as a company and as a social media entity, you have to realize is not all your clients are online. It's kind of like when I look at Twitter, people are like, oh, Twitter's saying this. I'm like, what is it, like 20%, 15% of people in the world, in the US are on Twitter? I mean, it's not like actively. I'm like, come on, is it really affecting that? Or only the people in that little Twitterverse that are getting affected? You have to realize it's not just Twitter I have to deal with. I have to deal with all the other people out there. So realize you do have social skippers. You do have people that aren't commenting about your product. They're not tagging your product. No matter what you say, hey, don't forget to write a review. I mean, how many of you go to your dentist office, your chiropractor's office, and they have that little sign there? Hey, write a review on Facebook about our office. Your referrals help us grow. And you don't do it. It happens, okay? Your social skipping, it does happen. Now, the next step up is what we call social snackers. These are people that will post things online about a product or about a service, and if the company responds back, they're like, oh, that's really nice. They're not expecting you to respond back, okay? It's kind of like this happened about a year ago. We were at Target, and they had a bunch of Uno cards. And I do a lot of traveling, and I find with kids and meeting people, like sometimes language barriers are a real thing. So the 2 best ways to break down language barriers and getting kids to play and adults to play, one is a football or soccer ball, and the other one are Uno playing cards. Because Uno playing cards, it's numbers and colors. You don't have to speak the language. You don't have to know that rojo means red. You just know that that's red, right? And so I just took a picture of it and shared it and said, hey, if you're thinking about traveling this summer and you're looking for a game where your kids can meet other kids, Uno is a really easy thing you can take with you and do that. That's all I did. I posted like that. I think I hashtagged Uno on there or something like that. I got contacted by Uno's Twitter feed. They're like, hey, we'd like to send you our new Uno flip. I'm like, hey, I didn't tweet. I mean, that's awesome. Thank you. But I wasn't tweeting. I didn't want anything. And they knew that. They're like, yeah, we know you weren't asking for anything. But we want to say thank you for being a Uno supporter, and we want to send something out to you. I was like, wow, that's really nice of them. So, of course, Uno has showed up in a lot of our videos. I've talked about Uno, and we do play it all the time. I actually will buy extra things of Uno when we travel, and we'll leave them behind in places just so they have things to play. Like, we were in El Salvador, the place we stayed, it had board games, but it didn't have any Uno cards. Like, we're going to sacrifice these Uno cards, buy another pack later so we can leave them there. So there's something that the kids can play and other people can play, right? And so you have that. And so these social snackers, I mean, they're just pleasantly surprised, okay? They're not looking for it. It's just like if you do and they're happy with it. And that's the thing is sometimes how many of you will comment on a video on YouTube and you don't expect anyone ever to answer back? That's a social snacker. If they do answer back, like, oh my God, the Beebs wrote back. I'm sure it was the Beebs like social media crew, but still, it could have been Beebs. You never know, right? You're like, hey, that's kind of cool, and that's about it. Now, the thing is when you get here, that's more like, I'm not really looking for anything. Now, when we start getting to the point where people are looking for things, these last 2 I want to talk about. One are called social savvies. These are people that they expect social interaction. They expect brands to answer them back online. Now, they're not like, you have to answer me now, But it's kind of like, look, if I post a question to an airline, I kind of expect to get answered to because they're using their social media to answer people's questions, so I expect them to answer mine. Now, I'm not going to be upset if they don't, but I'm like kind of like, you probably would answer it. So that's why for me, when I talk with Delta, I don't call them up. I actually tweet them. And then we start our conversation that way. Like, that's how it is. I actually go direct messages on Twitter and do it that way. I'm like, hey, what's up, Team Twitter Delta, and stuff like that. And I expect them to write me back. Eventually they're going to get back to me. And that's the thing is these social savvies, they do expect interaction with the brand online. And the thing is, there's a difference between these social savvies and these social stars. Social savvies kind of, I expect them to actually answer me back eventually. Social stars, these are the people that demand that they answer my question. I have written you 10 times. Why have you not answered me back? I get this on our live feed sometimes. Like people because we'll have, 400 people putting questions up at the same time and they fly by. And someone's like, why are you ignoring my question? Answer my question. And then all caps, I hate you. You die, rotten hell, you die. I'm like, whoa, that escalated quickly. What was your even question, dude? I didn't see it. Because they're expecting, like, they're not just expecting, but they're demanding that you reply back to them. And the thing is, you might see this in different situations. Like when the travel bans happened in March, and all of a sudden people are like, I got to get back home. I know with Delta and other airlines, they're like, hey, unless you're fine in the next 72 hours, we can't do anything for you right now, so please wait, because we're getting overrun with all these things. Because people are expecting, like, not just expecting, but demanding, answer my question, dang it. And so you have that. And so what we start to see is there's different people out there and what they expect with interaction. And that's why you will see that companies will track what Twitter feed goes with what, things like that. I know I tweeted a picture of Liam with some Delta cookies years ago. I mean, he was little, and he's like, oh, look, it says Delta on the cookies. But it didn't say it had the Delta triangle on there. And so I'm like, it was like cute. It was like, oh, our kid learned how to read because of the Delta cookies. Like something like that. Delta knew my Twitter feed that was associated with my account. They knew that my son was associated with me. They sent my son, it was 2015, so he would have been 4? Yeah, he was 4. They sent him a box in the mail from Delta, which had 2 of the huge cases of Delta cookies, the Biscoff cookies of that. They had, like when you go to the airport and they have like the airplane toys, they sent him a box of Delta airplane toys, a Delta thing. They sent 2 coffee mugs. The funny thing is his account had my parents' address on there from years ago, and we had to switch the address, and so it came to my mom. So my mom had like stolen one of the coffee cups, and I'm like, oh mom, where'd you get that cool Delta coffee cup? She's like, oh yeah, they had coffee cups in there too. It was pretty funny, but it was cool. And because you're going to see, it's like, wow, we have these different people. We're tracking them. Who do we need to write back to? Who are happy to write back? And you kind of analyze things that way. And that's why when people look at influencers like, some influencers like, look, I demand they're going to answer me because I have 100,000 followers. I have 1 million followers. Well, for brands, they have to look at it and say, is it worth it for me to answer them? If not, what is their question? Because sometimes it's just a question you're asked. Like, look, it's kind of like you're managing Twitter for a Fortune 500 company, and someone asks you a question like, that's above my pay grade. That's why you, in your content strategy, your creation strategy, which we talk about in another video, you lay out. Sometimes you just have the standard answers that people put out there. It's kind of like when you call customer service at AT&T, they have a standard answer for you, the same kind of stuff. So you want to think about those things out there, right? So I just want to give you kind of an idea of the different kind of levels of interaction you should expect, or you should be thinking about maybe doing, or the level of interaction that social media posters will expect from you and your business. So I hope that helps, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. And don't worry, I don't expect you to like or comment or subscribe. I demand it! Nah, you do what you want. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.